There's absolutely no guarantees. Absolutely none. There's things that you're out there for you to try will be suicidal, and there's things that have stood up under real fight stress. I've been in 6 life situations in my life, and I learned things from the things I did wrong and the things I did right. And I made 20 years of the 41 years training that I've been training of specific research of how to best deal with the knife, and there's no guarantees. So we adhere to principles that are designed to limit damage, because you need to expect to get cut in a situation like that. The ideal is that you don't get cut lethally. And put yourself in a position where you can terminate the threat quickly, put him down, and then get to a place of safety in self-medical triage. And if you need medical attention, get to a hospital. That's the best you can ask for, right? So one of the most difficult things to deal with is the stab. And the reason that the stab is difficult is because many martial arts portray it as they stab and they leave the knife there like a good bad guy so that you can grab the hand. But it's bollocks, they don't. They just they grab and shiv repeatedly like a sewing machine. Right? And if they know what they're doing, they'll actually stab and fucking stir while they do it to make the maximum amount of damage. But dealing with a stab is difficult, but you've got to start somewhere, right? So what we're going to look at is just a midline thrust, literally. Just going to stab somewhere between his abdomen and his sternum. Yeah? Just literally stab, punching it in, and I'm hitting him like I would hit him with body weight. Sorry, me too much. I'll play that. Do that. So I'm literally, yeah? And imagine the intent that would be behind it. If somebody is, there's loads of dislodged people now, people stabbing people for nothing. But when they do it, they always have the commonality. They do it furiously. They do it as fast as they can so they can't be caught or stopped. They do it berserkingly. They do it manic, with intent. And that's a fucking scary feeling. So first I want you to just feel that. Alright, so over the next couple of weeks we're going to be dealing with the knife extensively. But I want to get you on the wrong end of it first, so you get a feel. I want you to get a feel from a criminal perspective of what it feels like to do it. You need to get in the mind of the animal if you want to control the animal. Does that make sense? So you've got your tool, you've got it in a hammered grip, thumb around, and it's portraying forward, right? All you're going to do from 2 feet here, my signal, you're just going to grab him and you're going to stab, keep it on the fucking ground, want to get fucking going for his mouth. That's what you're going to do, right? You're going to do it with venom, right? You're only punching this into the body and the neck. Nothing into the face, no cheap shots in there. And it's foam. You'll be fine. You're not so fucking fine when we use these. Yeah? When people use solid trainers, particularly metal aluminium trainers with unforgiving points where they're rounded, they're only doing flour with it. If I'm replicating stabbing you, then I'm not going to replicate it like the fairy dust. I'm going to do it like I would do it. In which case, I'll kill you with that. I'll break your sternum with that. I'll put that in your neck. I'm pretty fucking sure of it. So imagine a blade. But you've got to get an idea for the intent, right? So the intent is, right, here, let me do that. It's continuous. High, low. Every single one of them is a lung puncher. Yeah, you've got to get a feel. You've got to add your intent to it. So I want you to add a bit of hurt and hate to it. So much so that once you've finished, you actually throw the knife, spit, and give me the finger. You imagine that? That's the emotional content that will be present. You want to get used to that. Right, so get the body wall. Wherever you stab you repeatedly, I want you to imagine that every single one of those puncture wounds is hitting through your body and coming out to your spine. So you're not going to be stood for very many, are you? Really. Depending on where he hits you. But I mean, you're getting organ failure, you're getting collapsed lungs, you're getting external bleeding, you're getting the whole 9 yards in there. Right? So from there, as soon as you're ready to go, get some intent in your head. No defence, hands down, this is you. Ready? Go! That's it. You've got to get in the mentality of the street people. Look at how many stabbings are happening. Do you think that any of these stabbings that are happening, the people that are committing them, do you think they're actually feeling really bad about doing it? Have they got any inhibitions about blood and what guts and what they do? Of course not, they love it. In which case, if you want to deal with that, You need to get a taste of that. If you want to deal with bad, you've got to be bad. Understand where your bad belongs, right? Your bad, I'm going to give some of you a handout, I haven't got enough. But there's an emotional, psychological side to combatives training. And it's the most important. And it's for the people that really need this kind of training, like Phil and many others. And one of the things they really struggle with is becoming aggressive, becoming a predator, becoming the criminal, becoming the predatory figure that is going to dominate the fight. For whatever reason, they capitulate in the presence of that and could have no contemplation of ever being that. Right? That's how they currently think. And you're right, currently how you think, you're not capable of adopting that persona yet. So what you need to do is think of training as a laboratory experiment where you can add the infusion of imagination. So the Jesuits said, give me a child before the age of 7, I'll make him a king. That's because the ability to conceive, believe and achieve was so high in children. There's no limiting doubts. So imagine just for the purpose of training, you're coming into an environment where you can use that limitless imagination. And what you want to ask yourself is, well, every time I train, I really am training in a different persona. I want to create a persona or a character that can deal with violence really well. And I know that that person isn't specifically me, but it is part of me. And I'm going to cultivate this metamorphosis of this SUPRA STATE type of character in my training, so that every time I practice in training or do anything, I am him. So you're going to feel what that feels like. Right? This is very powerful shit. This comes from a really good guy in the business called Richard Grannon. And he did something called SUPRA STATEs, streetfightsecrets.com. He's an NLP psychologist and a specialist in the emotional side of things. And if he says, well, if you feel that you can't deal with violence, create somebody that could, a persona, and adopt him when you train. And then compartmentalise him and put him away in your brain. And don't bring him out until you ever need him. And then when you need him, you are him. You step into him. When I give you this handout afterwards, and you read it, you'll get a greater understanding. And I want you to take it and try and get it, right? You'll get a greater understanding of what I'm talking about. You are what you think you are. So if you walk into a situation where you needed to do that to dominate somebody else, or you needed to deal with this kind of violence, you would be no good to anyone hoping or wondering. You know, you've got to cultivate that ability, that willingness, and that confidence. And if that's not in you yet, then act as if. Let's make a character that you can be every time you train, and you become him so good that the suit fits. So it's like, I put this suit on you right now with this character, and it's too big, it's too floppy, don't fit. But because we're training and we're tailoring every time we train, eventually, fuck, it fits. And you are what you think you are. You understand? You wouldn't believe how fucking powerful that shit is. Really, really is. And I say this to you because I'm going to bring in more of this psychological element to our training. I want you to visualise, and I want you to take away this handout and think about what I've just said. Yes? Right, you're going to switch sides now, and you're going to do this now. So nobody says, give me your wallet, you blighter. Give me your wallet, you cunt, or fucking cut you. That is cutting words. You need to understand that kind of language. And the manifestation of actually using it yourself has been proven. So they had some guys doing some striking on some pads. And then they had one striking on a pad, they were measuring pressure per square inch, power, etc. And then they had him shout the word cunt. Repeatedly, just cunt. And it accelerated his performance. Just because he said cunt, he meant cunt, and he really felt cunt. Do you know what I mean? So the attitude part is the whole 9 yards of it. Right? Just very quickly, where we are, I'm going to get you to take this structure, one foot in front of the other, bend your knees, stay square. I want you to tuck your abdomen in, you don't need the knife now. Right, so curl your pelvis up, pull your chin in, right? Now take both arms and make this structure. This forearms about 90, not quite 90 degrees, but forward, hands relaxed. So what I'm presenting to you is the back of my forearms. Do you understand? If somebody pulls a knife on you, this is the best structure you've got for protection. So understand how we're made. Everything vulnerable is usually inside. So on the inside, I've got brachial artery. On the outside, no major arteries. On the inside, femoral artery. On the outside, peroneal nerve, but no major arteries. If I take my knuckles and I rub them up and down the inside of my shin, that's really sensitive because there's no muscle there. But if it's the outside, there's armour. Do you understand? So by presenting the back side of your arms as opposed to this part, you are producing a barrier that is designed, if necessary, to take the cut instead of you. Because the area that you've got to protect in a situation like that is the neck and this vital square. Because the bottom housing to your lungs houses your lungs, your heart, your organs, etc. So this structure doesn't give any reliable thoroughfare to get to here. Do you understand? The principles that you employ after that, grab a knife for me, will be to blade fend. And basically what that means is, regardless of which way the knife's coming, whether it's coming over, it's coming back, or it's coming straight in, I want to use this structure to fend off or jam the blade. Do you understand? So in the case of the thrust, when he thrusts and retracts, I at least want that. I want to get this down to prevent this. Do you understand? So when he comes to that first shot, I want this, or it better fend it off. And the thing that you need to understand is that as soon as that comes in, it's coming back out. It's retracting. So what I want to do is be able to jam the line. So the principles are fend with the backs of your forearms. Clear the line of assault, boom, here. Clear the line of assault, and retaliate immediately. How you retaliate after you've fended would be to clear as he retracts, just follow him in, so I get this underhook. If I don't get the underhook, because he retracts, at least I've cleared it, I'm already here. I'm violent straight away. So he's gone from predatory physiology to getting stopped, which is somewhat painful, to immediate retaliation. Reversing the dynamics. As soon as that comes here, I jam it here. Ideally, move it across. If he retracts from me now, just go low line immediately, you right? Is that undercut?
Yeah.
Oh. Why are you laughing?
Because he's going to cry otherwise.
So he does his stand clear. I want to clear the line, come and grab this if I can. So I understand he's going, boom, he's pulling it out. But I'm going from here, clear and forward with that knee you started with. Which means I automatically end up behind the elbow. But even if I don't, I'm already attacking. Does that make sense? Feel for fending the blade. So you're going to be here. He's just going to stand. This starts to suck on the forearms now. So next week when we start to do it, I'll bring you some protection. You're just going to hit stand, bend, bend, bend. You can fend with one, the other, or both. Keep them perpendicular. None of this cross shit. You're hitting with the outside of your forearm. Let me show you why. So if he gave me the blade fend position, and I managed to cut loose just a strike down the back of his hands and his forearms, somewhere down here, he'll have minor extensor flexor damage because the tendons are deeper lying. There's more musculature here. Whereas, if you give me the classic fence, as he would, and now I cut him right across both as a power assist, both his hands across, I've just severed his flexor tendons. He'll spend the rest of his life like a T-Rex. Okay? So everything vulnerable is inside. Look at these tendons. Inside. The size of them fucking puppies. Right? But outside, underlying extensor tendons are deeper. And you know, right now, if you cut or severs the extensor tendon, well, I don't need dysfunction. I need dysfunction. Yeah? So I'm sacrificing my neck, heart, and lungs with an area that I'm willing to allow to get cut, should it need to. Right? So literally, from here, he's going to stab, you take this structure, just bend. And when you fend, you're going to hollow out your body. Hollow out. Move away from it. Understand? Right, get to the wall, right? He will catch this. Brilliant. Right? There, we just there. There you go, better. Right? That's it. He will catch this because this is protruding. I want to pull that shit in. I want all that in. So the only thoroughfare he's got to cut is the top of my knee. Or stabbing through the hands, or maybe my forehead. But everything here I'll cage. If the slash comes this way, I'll fend it. If it comes backhanded, I'll fend it. If it comes through the stab, I'll fend it. That's what we're doing. Yes? You need to get a feel.